If you are not ready to be involved in your building project, don't start. Because the stories we are hearing are just crazy. There's the issue of trust, there's issue of collapsing buildings, there's issue of theft, there's issue of overinflation of prices, and so many other issues that we are going to tell you in this video. We did a survey within our community and the results were shocking. And stay to the end of the video because we are also going to show you how you can avoid some of these issues. So Christina, tell us the numbers.
Okay. So just like you were saying, there's just this general mistrust in the entire building project. From even buying the land itself to you handing over your building project. The whole stretch, that entire process, you're going to lose a lot of money if you're not very vigilant, if you don't have the right type of information. Now, from the survey that we did, we asked a simple question. Would you want to supervise your building project yourself or you want someone else to do? And guess what? 81% said that they will want to supervise their own building projects.
81% of people in the thousands, Africa Building Hub, our videos reach millions of people every month. And in our community, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And 81% of such people think that they would want to supervise their building project themselves. Now, it's really interesting because when you go into the analytics as well, most of the people who are watching our videos are in US, Canada, Germany, UK, Europe, essentially, Dubai and stuff like that. So then how do you get so involved in your building project? Because me, one thing I say is if you don't have time to supervise, don't start. Just don't start. Right, so let's go.
All right. Then we have another 19% that agree that they would either prefer to do it themselves or to have a contractor do it for them.
Right.
And then we had an interesting 0% choosing to have a site supervisor solely doing it for them.
Wow.
And that's very interesting.
Yeah, it just says that there's an issue of trust or lack of trust when it comes to the building process in Ghana. But why do you think that is so?
So generally, you can start from the point of money.
Okay.
Yes, a lot of people have had very interesting experiences having contractors buy their building materials, inflate the cost, stealing from them. Even some people get killed in the entire process.
Yeah.
So people will not readily want to hand over their resources to another person when they know that they can get involved in the process from start to finish. But for some people outside, like you just mentioned, who are in the diaspora watching, some people who are building actively in Ghana, you cannot be physically here.
So I think that it starts from even the land acquisition process, right? Buying land where you think that this land here is legit. Recently in the news, and we are going to do a dedicated video on that, there was a whole estate, and the people living in the estate are being moved out after 14 years of ownership of the buildings and the land.
That's all.
Can you imagine? You've lived in your house for 14 years. Apparently, there was some litigation going on in the background. And as a result of the litigation, what has happened is that the party that sold you the land or the house has lost. And so the other party has now come to say, move out. Because I don't want anybody, like I've suffered for too long, 14 years. You know, so the whole land acquisition process is where the issue starts from. Me, I've been a victim. In fact, that's how this whole channel started. If you are new to this channel, this Africa Building Hub, we are creating a community of people who want to build, buy, or rent in Ghana. But we believe that whatever lessons we are sharing is applicable anywhere in Africa. I started this channel because I had a very nasty experience buying land in Ghana. And it was built on trust. So you not expect that these people would not tell you the truth. In the end, I lost about $20,000 to $30,000. People have lost millions of dollars. People have been injured because of land issues. People have lost their lives. In fact, my grandma lost her life. So some of these trust issues, it's not like some people have even experienced it. It's because of things that they've heard.
Yes.
Some of these stories in the past. So naturally, they've built this defense in engaging with contractors, developers, artisans. They are assuming that the people are out to cheat them. So it's a very defensive mechanism.
Because they are more for lack of a better word, there are more sad or bad stories than there are the good ones. So maybe we, on our platform, for example, we should be able to tell of the good stories of how
Yeah.
people are successfully building their homes and then using the knowledge that they learn on this platform to help them in their journey.
Really good point. Really, really good point. I think that maybe it's because bad news sells, and then the brain is also wired in such a way that you are looking out for things that will potentially cause you harm.
Yeah.
So if I come and give you a good story, you may not necessarily click on the video to watch, but if you see a bad news, you may want to watch to avoid the harm. But let's go on with the next point.
All right. So we also asked on the issue of buying building materials, and that's a whole can of worms that we are going to open. So we asked whose responsibility it is to buy the building materials.
Yeah.
So either people would prefer to buy it themselves, or they would prefer to let their contractor or their artisan or site supervisor, whoever it is, to buy it. So from the numbers, people agree, 78% agree that the owner should buy everything.
The person building the house should buy
Yes.
everything. Right, that's really interesting. So let's look at how we can help our community to do so. Assuming you are somebody who wants to be super involved in your building project, micromanage, and go down to the very little details, right? Then what you need to do, if you're in Ghana, obviously you can go around and source the material, see it yourself and all that. Or if you have somebody you trust, again, that's where the issue comes in, the trust factor. What we've experienced is that a lot of people even don't trust their family members. So people bypass their family members and come to us to build for them, come to us to provide artisans, come to us to provide materials and so many things for them, right? So if you're on ground, you can go and check and buy all the materials, establish sort of like a contract with the material seller. So I know some people that come to Ghana just once or twice in a year, and it's only when they come that they know they can go and buy the material, supervise the work that they will build. When they leave, the work stops. You know, so there are those kind of people. And then there are people who also come and pay for the materials, enter into an agreement with the supplier, and then say, supply when I need it, I'll call you. So they may pay upfront. If they need 1,000 bags of cement for the building project, they pay 1,000 bags of cement because they can afford. Then when they need 100, they will call and then the man will supply, etc. So there are different ways you can play in that space to ensure that you are getting the quality and the quantity at the time that you need it. But then, do you even trust the supplier to give you the best? That's another question.
Yeah.
So you put all these steps in place, but you also need somebody to supervise your building project. Really, really important.
Yeah. Okay. The second thing that people are also trying to explore is using technology. One, the solar camera.
Yeah. We fully recommend buying a solar camera. At least buy one, buy two, buy three, buy four for your building project. This thing has become a game changer in the industry. People are selling some, but for us, what we are selling and our guarantee is that we are giving you a 1-year warranty. If it's false, we'll replace it for free. And ours has the biggest battery. So you ask what brand. We went to China to get this made ourselves because we understand that when it's raining, etc., you don't get the power. You know, and that's when the thieves will know that your camera is not working. So we ensure that we got specifications that will give us the biggest battery size, so that even if it doesn't shine like 1 week, your solar camera will still work when you're actively using it. So order one is 3,000, order four. Our email is there, abh@abhcollabs.
In addition to the solar cameras too, I know someone who used to inspect the site works with a drone.
That's true. Some of our subscribers have also in the past reached out to us to provide those kind of services where they want to see the stage at which the building project has reached. Because yes, the solar camera will let you see who is coming and going. But if you want to see the full project from side to side, all angles, a drone does that. So again, if you need that kind of service within Accra, we can provide it. The email address is there, abh@abhcollabs. Next point.
Okay. So we also had like a 13% who think that it should be a shared responsibility.
Right.
So they can buy at some point, and then the contractor or the site supervisor can also buy some.
Right.
And also people were also of the opinion that it depends on the project size. So if it's a small one, then they can decide whether we should allow the contractor to buy it or to let them also buy.
Yeah, so it's a really good point you made. The thing is, even for us, when people contract us to build for them or do any part of the building projects for them, what we do is we discuss, would you want to source the materials yourself or would you want us to do it? Example, go ahead. You know where to get sand. For example, getting sand in Accra is so difficult now. Or timber, wood, it's so difficult. So we trust you to do that. Some people also say they have like a plug or like a merchant a vendor who can sell it to them. So either way works, right? Some people also would say, I want this particular brand. So some people specify exactly what they want. They know what they want. But the thing is, most people, when they are building, they generally don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I need cement, I need sand, I need stones or whatever.
I just need a structure, please.
Yeah, I need a house.
Take it off.
I don't want
hands.
the stress, So
Yeah.
it depends on which bracket you fall in or which category of person you are. But you can always reach out to us, consultation, or let us build for you within Accra, and we'll be glad to do so.
Now, the final statistic shocked me. 0% agree that the contractor shouldn't buy any of the building materials.
So people are saying that they would want to buy their materials themselves. Well,
in this case, it's more of leaning towards the contractor solely buying it. So they either want to be involved in the process or like have a co-responsibility of buying it together.
I mean, like I said at the start of this video, if you are not ready to be involved in your building project, don't start. Because you can't just leave everything to the contractor or the artisan. Many people don't use contractors, but they use artisans, right? And sometimes these artisans will genuinely want to cut you some cost. Genuinely, out of good intentions, they may want you to save some money. So if you need, let's say, we've done some wall for some people, right? And then we quoted, like, let's say for the column, they should use, let's say, 6 or 12 iron rods. But when we went inside, they were using 4. So it means that their previous artisan tried to help them cut costs, or they themselves wanted to cut costs. You understand? But if you want to cut costs, you end up paying multiple of the cost that you wanted to cut.
Yeah.
So artisans there, be involved. Even if it is iron rods, be involved. Because iron rods, there are different sizes and there are different tensile strengths.
Yeah.
If it's cement, there are different brands, there are different grades. If it is wood, there are different sizes. If it is tiles, there are different types. Even if it is tile cement, there are different brands. Even if it is electrical cables, there are different people who do it. So don't just say anything. Like, watch these videos. That's why we spend time to come and sit here and do these videos so that you can learn a lot.
Yeah. So in addition to that, I think that personally too, there's a certain level of wisdom that you attain after you've built. Because for some people, they don't know anything about cement brands. They don't know what 32.5R is used for. They don't know even how a 16 rod looks like. But if you are able to go with your artisan or your contractor to sites, they'll show you, okay, this is this, this is that. Then you learn something more, something
really
different.
Important. In fact, it's one of the 5 main reasons why I give every young person to build. 1, the kind of experience you will gain, you will not learn it in school.
At all.
Building will give you experience that marriage will not even give you. Building will give you experiences that you will not get anywhere.
Very debatable.
No, because you see, the things you learn, you become a project manager.
Yeah.
You will learn how to negotiate. You learn how to fight litigation, land guard. You'll be a lawyer. You will understand plumbing. You understand electricals. You understand masonry. You understand carpentry. You understand painting, interior decoration.
Facilities management.
Like, you need to understand everything. You need to understand budgeting. You need to understand meteorology, the weather. You need to understand topography, the nature of the land. You need to understand how the elevation and all those things play. You need to understand the wind direction. Like, I think you will learn, That's not a joke, oh.
Yeah.
By the time you finish, the Bible says that it is through wisdom that a house is built. You understand? So I really respect people who have built houses because it's not a joke.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Even if it's a 1-bedroom house, you should be proud of yourself that you built a 1-bedroom house.
All right, let's get to the next point. What do you think are some of the common materials that people are stealing on site?
Number 1 material that thieves love to steal right now is electrical wires.
Yeah.
Because it is so small, you can put it in a bag. It's easy to carry around and all that when you steal them. They usually roll them in coils.
Yeah.
So when they pull, your house may be big, but when they've pulled all the wires, it will fit in a backpack. Do you understand? A very big backpack.
Yeah.
And the value of that is really strong.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that they like to steal. Some people also come and take your sand and things because mostly it's in front of your house. So in the night, they will bring some wheelbarrow, carry your sand and chippings away.
Yeah.
The next one is your finishing materials, right? Your pipes, and things like that. Your sinks, your chairs, and small things that they can steal when the building is not completed. plumbing materials and things, they can easily steal. Paint, things that they can easily carry, put in a wheelbarrow or in a small car and go. Nowadays, they also steal the aluminium for the window frames. Yeah, they steal that as well. And anything that they can lay their hands on that is easily pickable and they can take it
the
out.
iron rods too, some of them now have these clippers or something that they can disintegrate and then pack them all away.
Yeah, I've seen somebody's building project. In fact, somebody sent us a video. They went to their building site and the thieves had come to cut the iron rods. So what they did was, usually, when you are doing your columns, you put the mat down, you put the rebars, the iron rods and all that on it. Then you would put your wood around it, you pour your concrete into it so that you get your columns. But maybe the person didn't have money at that time to complete. So they had done the iron rods and then they had done their block work without doing the columns. So they came and cut all the iron rods, which is still usable. You understand? So again, one of the advice that we give during our consultation sessions is that don't start a phase without planning how to complete it quickly.
Okay.
You understand? So for example, if you are doing your wall, your block work, make sure that you are not just doing the block work, but you have enough money to do your columns so that it holds the block together. Now somebody can even come and break or push the walls down. And if you do the rods alone and you leave it exposed, holiday for them, because there's nobody, especially at night. Most people are building in the bush.
And aside from that too, during this rainy season, the rains are quite intense nowadays. You could just come to your site and everything is just broken. You remember the site that we went to and the wall that had completely crashed. It was a very terrible night of rain. So yeah, it's very good advice. Also, according to a survey, 74% say that they face theft or have experienced missing materials on their site.
Yeah, and it's really common, like I'm saying. There are many things that they steal. The cement, the iron rods, the wiring, even the aluminium frames of the windows, and so many other things. Paint buckets and all that. Shovels, headpans and stuff.
Yeah.
So comment and let me know. Have you ever experienced theft on your building project? And we have a whole video on security. We have a whole video on security, the different phases of security at different stages of the building project. So make sure to subscribe and then watch that video as well. And share this video if you are getting
I think we should drop the link
the link will be somewhere.
Yeah, we'll drop it in there. All right. So the next thing that we also discussed as part of the survey was on payment. And we asked, would you pay your contractor upfront or not?
Will you pay your contractor upfront or not? The answer obviously sounds like don't pay them upfront. But do you know that there are instances where if you don't pay them upfront, you're actually losing money?
Yes.
So if the contractor is somebody who supplies you some goods, right, they will probably buy them. So like if you're buying solar panels, you're buying anything around the electricals, you would need to pay upfront. Especially if you want to save against inflation and the pressures of the dollar and all that, right? Because most of these materials are shipped. Your security doors, your lighting, and all those things. It's good to pay upfront, way before you even complete your building project. Especially if it will take 2 months, 3 months before that part of the building project will be ready. Because if you are shipping from China and stuff like that, within 2 months, 3 months, it would arrive. And we will do a full video on how to import stuff. So again, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of those videos. Now, there are different ways. Like I said, there are certain parts of the building project where you need to pay upfront, especially if the cost is really huge. Like you're doing roofing. The roofing company will definitely want you to pay upfront, because there are other alternatives. And many a times, the difference between 1 week or 2 weeks is a lot of money. But be very wary of some companies, right? We featured one company on our channel with genuine intentions. It wasn't even a paid gig or anything of the sort. We thought they could provide alternatives, brick safe constructions. And they got millions of views. They got a lot of demand that they could supply. Now, they were demanding payment upfront. And what happened was that they've collected a lot of people's money, but they are not able to
deliver.
Yeah, and some people are even taking them to the police and all that. So you need to understand the credibility of the person that you are using. Apart from that, you need to also manage the process. If I'm paying you upfront, there's some contract, etc., that you are signing, so that if shit hits the fan, sorry to say, you can get your money back.
All right. Okay, so let's just get into the breakdown of the numbers and then we can move on.
Yeah.
So we have 0% who agree that no full payment should be made to the contractor or artisan. 6% said that final payment when the project is done. And some 6% also agree that your contractor or artisan should be paid on a weekly or daily basis. And then finally, we have 87% who agree that the payment should be made per milestone.
Right. So it is another advantage of paying your contractors upfront, though people don't like it, is that it helps you to save money.
Yes.
You know, because in building, you also need that financial discipline. You know, we spoke about the benefits of building, and one was wisdom. The other one is financial discipline. Because if you are doing, let's say, a 1 month phase activity, and then you could pay upfront for 100,000 cedis, but you decide that every week you pay 25,000. If you had paid upfront, you are free, right? You tie it with some contracts and agreements and all that. But if you are managing the money, every day I'll pay 1 cedi. If you have money, the tendency to chop it is really
it's
high.
very high, yes.
You know, so if you don't have financial discipline, try and lock in some of these things with
Very
your
early.
artisans or contractors or developers, and then you save money and you also remain financially disciplined. Especially if you are like me, starting life, and you don't have boom money like that coming in all the time. Lock a certain phase of the project in, and then put the money into the work. Then you start eating gari and things small, so that you survive. But if you want to be living your comfortable life and still be building at the same time, that's also not bad.
Yeah.
But it means that you may run into some financial distress at a point in time. You get me?
Yeah. I think in addition to what you said, it's also necessary to consider 2 things. That if you're paying this person upfront, do you trust that they will deliver on time? So the credibility part is also something that people should also look out for. And also, if it's going to get the work done for you faster. Yeah. At the end of the day, they all tie into trust. Which is, in the case, you've not seen too many people exhibit that. That is why you find 0% saying that, no, we don't trust people to pay them upfront because they may just run away with our money.
Yeah. Now, we did a video on supervision, and I want to read some of the comments so that you get an idea of where people's minds are when it comes to supervising building projects. This person said, most of the issues you've identified I've experienced. Building from abroad is really difficult, Charlie. God willing, it will be worth it in the end, but you have to micromanage, which is almost impossible to do from afar in my experience. I'm building a level of loss within my budget for those situations where I will and have been duped, unfortunately. And I've had to toughen up my mindset regarding family members who haven't been trustworthy. I've also had to get rid of a perfectionist mentality because I can't control everything from afar. That said, my advice would be to budget really closely in advance and spend no more than you can afford to lose. Cross-check prices from multiple sources. Get video footage regularly or daily. Again, you can do this every minute with your solar camera. Get to Ghana often. It is expensive to travel from abroad to Ghana, but it will be more expensive in the long run not to check in person. Really solid comment. Somebody also says, if you are outside and your family members are assisting you to build, put them on the daily expenses. Consider them as artisans. You know, that's another reason why a lot of people are being duped, because they see their family members like, oh, it's my uncle, it's my brother.
So they
So
should
go on site and go and check what they are doing. And the guy should use his own transportation. Do you understand? Why would he not collude with the people to chop your money? You get me? So if you put them on a salary, then they are less likely to be hungry and start thinking of
ripping you off.
Yeah, exactly. Someone says it's better you are there personally to supervise. No one can be trusted in Ghana. Obviously, that's not true. Someone says, I held off precisely because of this supervision issue on starting my project for so long. I'll be moving to Ghana in May to oversee it to completion before my departure. I'm also considering extending this service to others. Will you be open to a discussion? Okay, so that was a business conversation. Someone says, I wish I would have known this before I started building. It is horrible what I've gone through trying to build in Winneba.
Wow.
As an African American, I would not advise anyone to build without being there. Somebody says trust but verify. Then a lot of people are also requesting to purchase our solar cameras. Someone says we need to build a house And we can't be there all the time. So what do we do? Because I have to build a house for my wife and kids.
Absolutely, send us an email.
Somebody also says, if you request for the leave number, the supervisor gets a problem with them and wants them out of the job because they'll report if you find information from them. So sometimes people want to bypass the supervisor to go directly to the artisans, and that also creates issues. Someone says, I'm nervous about building because a friend told me he spent $20,000 on roofing alone on a 5-bedroom house.
Wow.
Yeah. Someone says, I'm watching from Germany. I've been facing all the challenges you've mentioned, starting from higher charges, not buying the quality materials, not using the correct number of items stated, overestimation, not taking correct measurements or sizes, rough works, no time management, delays, wasting materials, wasting money, deception, excuses upon excuses. You can tell this person is so frustrated in Germany.
Yeah.
Someone said, my story is sad. My sister friend gave me an estimate for about 200 cement bags. Do you know he came back later that he needed 200 more bags for the same job?
What?
Yeah.
And did they give a reason why? No.
No. Okay, so someone says, isn't supervision a skill? And don't you need some building knowledge to effectively supervise? And I agree with that. In fact, we'll do a full video on the things you need to check out for when you are building, so that if you decide to go and supervise yourself, the questions to even ask your artisans before you select them. So again, subscribe, turn on all the notifications. So if you found value in this video, first of all, like this video, comment what you've learned, comment your own experience, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to reach 50,000 subscribers before the year ends. Thanks, Bebre.